So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the JD Photo Podcast. I'm super excited to start doing this. We're going to interview a variety of guests in the photography and videography industries with a specific focus on weddings. Today, I'm really excited to invite Bel Cal Photography. They are two amazing photographers whose work just has a little bit of an artistic flair, I'm going to say. Very quirky at times, yeah. So I really like their work. They do very creative stuff, so we're going to learn a lot from them today. Without further talking, let's get straight in. Cheers.
Yeah.
So Callan, cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. Thank you for coming along.
So we just
I reckon-
cheers in Portuguese he's learning.
I reckon we should start with how did you get into photography? Let's hear your story. What started the whole journey?
Who's going first?
Bel Photography.
You can go first.
Bel Cal Photography, by the way.
Bel and Cal Photography.
Yeah.
Bel,
I'll
okay.
play around. Okay, you'll go first. I got into photography in high school. It was
Look at me,
conversation,
we're
isn't
talking.
it? Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Easy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
All right. I started photography
in
high school.
as
Yeah,
well.
did you?
Yep.
Nice.
I was 14 when I first picked up a camera.
Oh, that's younger than me.
That's really good.
It was in like year 10, 11, and
It makes me so jealous of you guys that grew up in Australia, which is a country that cares even a little bit, but it does care about.
Yeah, when did you
arts.
move here?
8 years ago.
Right. Okay. So you graduated from high school entirely when you moved here?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. And there was no media, no IT,
I was
nothing.
graduated in university when I came here.
Isabella worked in marketing in England before coming
Did
here.
you?
Yeah.
So what was your journey here? So you obviously grew up in Rio. That was and
Yeah.
so,
So I'm Brazilian.
and Rio is Brazil. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Brazilian, born and raised in Rio de Janeiro.
Yep.
Actually from a small town called Niterói, but no one ever heard of Niterói. Everyone always heard about Rio de Janeiro, so I just tell people I'm from Rio de Janeiro.
It's like 20 minutes from Rio.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's like living in Fremantle and then
Gotcha.
going to Perth City.
There's a
Except
13,
it's
13 kilometers bridge between Rio and Niterói.
And Brazil's huge, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like a massive country. Have you travelled the whole distance? Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah. I would love to do that. I haven't been to South America, so my geography is pretty limited over there. But yeah, you guys had an official wedding as well. Tell us about that a little bit. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was amazing. We had a wedding here first.
Yeah.
And then we went over to Brazil. You hadn't been back in 8 years.
Yeah.
And I had never met your family before.
Oh, it's
and
first
none of
time.
them speak
There
a
you go.
word of English either. And then
That's easy.
the ones that do speak English, it's
First
like,
time meeting.
still have to speak very slow. You start putting out Australian, as we normally would speak,
Yeah.
and it just comes out automatically sometimes,
Yes.
without even
You have to
thinking about
slow
it.
yourself down.
And then you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, yeah.
Yeah,
Or if we're out having a barbecue, and the Brazilians know how to do good barbecue. God damn, they know how to do good barbecue. And we're having you start having a couple beers, and then you start speaking faster.
Yep.
as
And you lose it. Yeah.
And then you
I
lost
know. Yeah. It happens to me
And
every
the
time I go to
slang.
Europe as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the small slangs as well, like we are used to it now, like being in here and whatnot. Like I'm used to it now. You guys always been used to it, but it's like the words the Australians say, they are different than
Yes.
words that other
Yes.
people say. So even though if the
You
person
just
is
got the twang in there
American-
for a second, did you?
Yeah, you got the missing twang going on there.
Yeah, you've picked it up yourself.
yeah, I have, a little bit.
Do you feel
I
like,
still
you're
sound
more
very
Australian or Brazilian now?
It's funny because my American friends say that I'm full-on Australian,
Aussie.
but I still think that my accent's very Brazilian.
Yeah. So you started photography in Australia then, and that was the kickoff.
Okay, so I graduated in Brazil in marketing.
Yeah.
So in marketing, I've done marketing and communications like as a whole.
Yep.
And I had two or three sets on photography, something around those lines. So like basics
Right.
of photography,
Okay. Yeah.
studio photography, and some other thing
Yeah.
that I don't remember. So that's when I got introduced to photography. But I've decided back then that if I was to go into photography, I wanted to be a music photographer.
Okay.
And then
yep.
I was
Me
told,
too.
Hey,
I was-
That was the
So-
first thing I used to shoot was music.
Really?
that's cool.
Same.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. That's how I started.
I was told in university that I would never make it as a music photographer because the gear is too expensive. And like those bands, they just don't come to Brazil, which there is a little bit of true in that, but I'm just the kind of person that doesn't take no for an answer, so I just went
You
for
went,
it
yeah,
anyway.
How did you
And,
find it?
know, I love music photography.
yeah.
It's what put me into photography.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
started
You
with
need something
music.
like that, don't you? Because I feel like it's a really difficult thing to master, you know? Well, not master. I don't think I've mastered it, or probably, you know, I'm not saying that you guys are bad or, you know, any of us are bad, but to master photography, it's like there's so much to know, right? Or to even become maybe proficient at it.
So
That's
many
it.
different aspects of photography.
Yep.
It's like a rabbit hole, and everyone's at a different, you know, level of how
Yep.
deep you go down the rabbit
Yep.
hole. You know, some
It's
people
very
will only
fun.
do one genre and then
That's
become
it.
masters at that one genre.
Yep, that's
but
it.
to be a master of photography is too wide of a subject. I think.
And then
so,
you have
yeah.
people that studied a lot, like formal studying. There are some other people that just go off on YouTube and study so much. They get to know
Yep.
even more
Yep.
than the people that went to study. And then you have also the people that just buy a camera and go, I'm a professional photographer now.
I shoot weddings.
Yep. I think the route you've taken, it comes through in your work, I think, because like you can tell when people have that initial passion for photography, and then, I don't know, you just get that artsy-ness to the images, you know, compared to someone who does just buy a camera and go straight to weddings. You know, there's a very clear, distinct difference, I think. And I don't know if it's because it is such a hard thing to get good at, because anyone can do photography, you know, we all have phones, but, you know, everyone's like, phones are going to kill it. I actually think it's made it more demand because people value good photography, right? Because we know how hard it is to do. Wow.
Yeah. People appreciate it more.
And
they're seeing more photos everywhere, especially everyone with cameras and phones.
Yeah. The phone made us a favor by putting a camera into everyone's hand.
Yeah.
So nowadays people take lots more photos than they used to take back in the day.
Like people take photos
all the time.
In Brazil, we use our phones all the
All
time
the
for the
time.
photos.
Yeah.
They're getting so good.
They're good.
I was scrolling through on my phone and all the little tiles of the photos, and I had to do a double take on one of the photos. It was of Rio. I clicked on it. I was like, it's actually a phone photo. But in the tiles, it had me second take because, you know, it was contrasty and punchy and it was in a bit of low light.
It speaks to that argument on gear as well, right? And like how much does gear matter? And obviously gear matters a lot, but there's something about being a good photographer that you can use phones or you can use cheaper cameras and you still can get really good images, you know. And it's not all about gear.
Especially nowadays. I feel like when the cameras started going into like digital era and getting better and better in low light, we got very finicky about like, you know, I don't want any grain, I don't want this, I don't want that. Nowadays, the table has changed. Like, people are looking for cameras that are worse on low light and stuff like that and contain more grain because then there is more fueling to it.
There's definitely, I've noticed that as well, a reversal. But like, trends move and change a lot, right? It's really difficult. As wedding photographers, you guys have a pretty distinct style. Like, you know, it's definitely, you're definitely growing a really strong presence in your images, right? Because it's got that look. And I guess what I'm trying to ask is how do you think styles come about? Do you think it's obviously, I want to tie it back to the passion part because, you know, I personally believe to be a really great photographer, you need to have passion and then you need to have perseverance as well because it's extremely difficult. And then you need to also have an understanding of style, right? And how to build a style. So what's like your experience been there too?
I feel like style, you probably agree, it's like it's formed over many years of shooting, I feel like our style sort of lines up quite similarly in terms of like the style in which we interact with the couples as well as in which we shoot. It's a good mix. We like a mix of sort of using lighting when it's required, but also natural lighting. But I don't know, I feel like styles, it's eventually, I feel like it's like ingrained into you.
That's right.
And how you shoot over time. I feel like it's something you don't think about because it's just second nature. And I don't know.
I went through a few moments with style. I went through like a period of time that I used to think about it a lot and be like, I need to find my own style. I need to find my own style. And I used to buy a whole heap of fucking presets. Sorry, is that okay to say fuck on your podcast?
It's fine. We're drinking whiskey.
It won't make the cut. It's all right.
We'll bring out a cigar soon as well. And
I went through this phase of like, you know, finding photographers that I like and try to buy that presets. And then I understood that it goes like beyond presets. Like you need to understand white balance and what the heck is going on with your colors and whatnot. So then I started studying a lot about color science. And funny enough, like the person that taught me the most about color science. She's also a stylist, like a clothing stylist.
Right.
And her approach of understanding how colors work with skin tones and whatnot is what made me understand about coloring photos.
You do a lot of really vibrant work in the studio as well. I've seen a lot of those images.
Love colours.
Yeah.
It's
And
funny
I guess
'cause-
you have that background understanding. It's so interesting, isn't it? How like different life life experiences can pull together how you work with people, how you produce art. Because I don't use color like that at all. Vibrant backdrops and stuff. But I do use lighting.
But
and,
you put
That's
your
it.
puncture colors into lighting, which is like, it makes it way less boring as well if you just put like washed out lights, the way you have lights and you do your color with lighting, it's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that comes. Yeah, for my life experience would have been my love for cinema. So I had media in high school as well, but we did photography, but the focus was cinema. So we learned all about the lighting and how we set that up. And even though I was 14 through to 17, it's come through my work as a nearly 30-year-old guy. So everything you experience, right, will determine how you take a photo, and it's just the way of art, right? Even at my time as a therapist at Anglicare, I think a lot of those skills have transitioned into the way I like work with people as well and interact with people.
Your communicative skills is
It's very important.
massive.
It's very important for a photographer to have lots of understanding about psychologists, especially psychology, I should say. Especially because if the person is working like more in a commercial environment, slightly bit different. Like if you're working with lots of products, products don't talk back to you. But if you're working in a wedding, family, even like branding, especially branding as well, like if you don't understand about psychology, it just makes your life a lot harder.
Unless you're a pet photographer or shooting food, I feel like communication skills is so
everything.
underrated.
Everything.
Even a
so
pet-
underrated. There's
Pet
so many
photography, you need good communication as well. Like you need to understand the language of the pet
Yeah, but in
to
terms
be
of
able
like
to get what you want.
actually talking to
No,
clients
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that, it
And
makes a big difference.
I'll-
The body language and everything that you come across in photos, you can have the best composition and the best lighting in the entire world, but if the couple doesn't look like they're having either the most intimate time of their life or the most amazing fun time of their life, and it doesn't look natural or I don't know, like genuine.
Yep.
You need to
if
be
they look tense and
able.
stuff,
Yep.
can sort
You
of
need to
tell.
make people feel relaxed.
Yeah.
You need to connect with
be
them.
able to make
Rapport.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah,
you need to have that rapport with them. And as a photographer, you're usually doing that in split seconds, because it's weddings as well, and the stressful environments of the day. And there's so much going on, and all of a sudden you need to remain relaxed, but also still be able to control that emotion that they're feeling as well,
Exactly.
under the camera,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
isn't easy. I was freaking out all morning to be under these cameras.
Yeah.
You can imagine how our clients feel in those instances. And part of the skill of being a great photographer is being a great people's person, I think.
Oh yeah,
You
100%.
definitely need.
That's why I feel like the biggest difference between how I shoot because I shot my first wedding when I was 18.
Yep.
On my 18th birthday, I shot my first wedding alone.
How did that go?
It was my mum's friend.
Yep.
As probably most people start off, someone It was good. The photos, there's a couple that I still think are alright photos, but in terms of the way in which you communicate with a client or a couple, that's the biggest thing I've noticed change over the years.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Just that, and it's just being more comfortable, I guess, in what you're
Confidence.
doing, and confident, and that knowing that you can take a good photo.
Yeah.
And that you, no matter what situation you're in, it's fine. You're going to be able to work it out. Just be with the client, Talk to them
I think that confidence is so crucial, not only to the taking photos on the day, but to like the pre-planning phase as well, because it's one thing that actually contradicts what I learned in my social work course, because we always got told, don't be the expert, like try and be on a level playing field. I actually think in wedding photography it's the opposite. I think you actually need to position yourself a little bit like the expert and try and control the situation a little bit, because if you don't, then you get in situations where maybe their expectation might be unrealistic. Like they might see photos that I take at golden hour and then be like, can we produce this at 2:00?
Exactly.
And I'm very transparent and I'll just say, no, it's not possible. And this is what you're going to have to do. And you need to kind of position yourself as the expert, because if you relate with them too much and try and please people too much,
We had the exact same thing happen the other day. We shot a wedding. It was actually an engagement celebration, and it was in the middle of the day and there was no shade or anything going on outside. And you just got to be fully transparent and say, hey, look, this is the environment we're in. We're still going to get nice photos. It's still going to look great, but it's not. This is no golden hour. This is no infrastructure around us.
The location was like a
footy oval. It was basically a footy oval with a sports centre. And it
at
was
midday.
12 o'clock in the middle of the day.
Like
No parks around.
I looked around and I'm like, there is not even one bloody tree. Like
There's not much you can do.
I just needed one bloody
There really
tree,
isn't.
right?
Yeah.
None.
There's not much you can do. Yeah, there really isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we still, you know, you make it work. And we found...
Trees are your best friends.
We hugged trees.
We had to
basically.
walk miles to find one bloody tree, let me tell you.
So,
But, you know.
I was at South Perth Foreshore one time photographing a school board. And school boards are very symmetrical lighting. And it was full sun, so you know the sun was coming straight on. But there was this like really thin palm tree. It was probably that wide.
Yeah.
And it was casting this really thin shadow along the ground. So it was literally putting people in there and then flashing them. And that little thin shadow was taking out all of the harsh sunlight. And it was just like that little thin line. It was amazing. And it just made me realize, right, like how important, this was, you know, maybe 8 years ago. And I realized how important understanding natural light is. You know, because you have to understand, you know, like how to use shadows, and even how to use direct lighting and harsh lighting. And there are instances where harsh lighting is useful, but usually at a wedding, you don't want to be shooting with midday sun at a footy field. So
it works sometimes as well.
Sometimes,
like we delivered a gallery in the beginning of the year that I was freaking out for this wedding. Like,
so that one in Fremantle you did?
No, it's one that we've done in the city.
Office.
And the couple was just so beautiful, and I was just so excited for it. But it was like 1 in the afternoon, and I started freaking out. I was like, "Oh, there is no way we can deliver a good gallery." It's one of my favorite galleries, and like lots of the images they are harsh lights.
Why were you freaking out?
Why?
Yeah.
Because it's a midday shoot in the city.
Gotcha.
I was like, how am I going to make this look good? But, you know, I've realized as well that after you do it for a while, you start seeing things differently. Yeah. So playing a lot more with like harsh light and shadows to make that composition speak for itself as well.
It's really understanding the lighting as well, you know, how to... You're shooting midday sun, there's a lot of compositions you look around and it's going to be the subject and the background's just overpowering and you just lose the subject because you need to make them pop.
Yes.
So then finding those areas where you get rim lights coming through the buildings and then playing with light in that way. And you have to be so, you know, as you would know, so, you know, adjust to the environment that you're in.
Yeah, and I think the other hard part of it is you need to analyze it and go, what am I trying to say now with this image, and what's this story going to be, and how am I going to use lighting to convey that?
Yeah.
And that's really difficult to do at a wedding, especially under harsh sunlight. I remember you guys posted some photos. It looked like a midday shoot, and you were in. It looked like Fremantle, and
it might have been at the Cottesloe Civic Centre.
Maybe.
No,
but I remember seeing
we
it.
haven't
that one.
posted that one.
It was. I think it might have been the same couple. Was it at like a little teepee hut? And
but what caught it was the lighting, and I was really impressed because I was like, you know, the photos looked really good under those conditions, and you know, I don't even take weddings if you're going to be asking for photos at that time, and you know, it's made me reconsider it. My fiance's done the same thing with exactly like you said about they're seeing things differently, and as a photographer, you always get told soft lighting, right? And you know, you need to light things in this way. And Morgan was actually saying to me, I really like the harsh lighting, and that's around that time. You know, I kind of started to experiment with it and realized that you know you can use harsh lighting to your advantage and to tell different stories. And
there is another photographer called James as well from Perth.
Yep. What's his last name?
James Simmons.
Oh yeah, I've second shot for James Simmons. Yeah.
I think he's brilliant on what he does.
Yep.
And he does a lot. He works a lot with harsh light.
Mm-hmm. He does.
And his work with harsh light, he's just like stunning. It's so good.
Yep.
But he's one of the person, like, I never met him in person, but I look at his work a lot, and you know, realizing and breaking it down and whatnot, I'm like, you know what, I actually not like harsh light, because this guy works harsh light so good. So every time that I have a photo shoot like that, I go sometimes on his page and give a little bit of a look just to say, you know, like, to refresh my memory and whatnot. And his posing and like the way he works with this, the harsh light really works.
Yeah,
for me.
he's got some incredible work. I used to follow him very closely as well, growing up as an inspiring photographer. I think a lot of people do, because he's dedicated his whole life to producing these kind of editorial images.
He was one of the first wedding photographers in Australia to be sponsored by Canon as well. I feel like, us that have been doing it for a little bit longer, you just get a little bit like, whoa. And he still is sponsored by Canon, which is huge because Canon doesn't sponsor anyone anymore.
I think he was also one of the first to develop that specific style of photography.
It's very grungy, sort of
Grungy.
darker style.
It's a grungy kind of type of images.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to probably him as a person understanding how important it is to position yourself in a very unique way in order to charge premium rates.
Yes.
And I think he obviously identified that and slowly refined that style over time. And that allows you to do things differently. And if you can do things that other people can't do, then yeah.
He's a bloody genius.
Yep, and it's definitely given me a lot of inspiration in what I try and do with where I'm going as well. I always look at the market and go, what aren't people doing? And then how can I come in and fill that gap, and do something that is different but still nice and people will purchase because if no one else can do it and you have that unique style, then you can obviously have a lot more leverage in your selling, right?
I think that's something you've definitely developed as well.
Thank you.
So well in terms of your style, you have a good mix of very stylized sort of shoots, but also still getting that natural sort of feel as well.
Yeah. What pisses me off the most when person is like, I'm a style shoot photographer and only gives that gallery with all posing shots. I think it's a little bit like, okay. Come on, there is other shots you could have taken as well, and you have a good mix of both. Like you do both, and in my opinion, it's the most important kind of work. Like I find it really funny when the photographer is like, "My style is posed only. My style is being a fly on the wall
I'm a
only."
natural light photographer.
Let me tell you, being a fly on the wall all the time, it's not going to produce you amazing images. It's just not going to.
There's certain points where you need to step in and adjust something. You can't just let things happen all the time. Otherwise, you're not going to get the shot.
Yeah, I am
That's a massive
I
thing,
am
though.
more of a documentary photographer than I am a style photographer. That doesn't mean that I don't pose people. That doesn't mean that if something is happening over there and I see if this person steps a little bit that way, I'm going to tell them to step a little bit that way, even though it's, it's supposed to be as it is, which is. You just change slightly bits.
You're subtly directing.
Subtly, very
I think I try to do that in my posing a lot as well, where I kind of allow couples to fall into a pose, and then I'll give them small directions in between that, and that's how you get those natural moments. So it's not so static, and you keep the movement right, and you keep things moving and flowing, and you give posing instructions that allows them to do things that also feel natural. Yeah, because you don't want.
I've also found like the flow of a shoot is so important. Like, that's how I feel in terms of like how you, because obviously couples are sometimes very nervous coming into a shoot. So if you start them off with easy posing, like hold hands, classic pose first. All right, now you're going to walk towards us. And then it just breaks the ice.
I do the same
thing. Feel way more comfortable. And then you can get more, if you go straight into like, okay, you need to put your hand here and we're going to do this tight. Especially maybe often the guy is more
intimidating.
Nervous. He's intimidating. He doesn't like being on camera.
Very
I don't like being on camera.
I don't think anyone does.
No.
And it is super intimidating to have. So let me just.
I'm going to turn this on. Do not disturb as well because this has been buzzing.
Just sit back, Bel. Yep. Freaking, it's not focused. So it'll be the worst. I completely lost my train of thought.
The flow of the shoot.
Yep, I have something to say
Yes.
though. I feel like you are very good on posing and keeping the flow because of your love for film as well.
Yep.
Like you have an understanding that motion it's what makes the scene, right? There is like I've worked with other photographers that like we were second shooting or doing video for this particular person that's quite good actually, but oh my God.
Heavily posed.
It's heavily posed. And it's that person that goes over there to the couple, pose them and goes, don't move, don't move, don't move. As he's walking back, don't move, don't move. And then he clicks the picture and then he goes back there and changes something else. And we were doing video at some point. I was just like, oh my God, I want to die.
stopped shooting.
I want to kill myself.
Yeah,
At some point I stopped
And
shooting
then-
and it was like, we're just going to do our bit after he's finished because this is not working.
You
We
need,
need to
then-
wait
the movement.
So then we've done
do,
this,
yeah.
like, look, you have, the first 5 minutes on this location and we have the other 5 minutes. And then what ended up happening is that we would position the couple and get them like to move and this and that. And he would just like come back with his camera trying to click as well because there is movement.
Yes.
And I was just like, oh my God,
Probably
get
learn-
out of my
You
frame.
probably learned something. It was like, I need to jump in on this. It's super important. I think movement is the most important part about posing because it's like comes back to that psychology. It takes your mind off it. When you go get your needle done, what do they say? They say they ask you questions, take your mind off it. And it's the same thing. If you're directing people and you're saying, just glance your eyes around a little bit, it takes the mind off being photographed and you get that natural expression.
Exactly.
So I try to do with all of my posing is if I'm making a scene, I'll give them, or making a pose, I'll give them directions within that pose that they can do to keep the movement going.
Exactly. Whispering in the ear. Or
That's it.
flicking the dress.
My favourite one's machine gun kisses.
Machine gun kisses?
Yeah, you tried that before?
No, we do Eskimo kiss.
Yep, no,
which is
try machine gun kiss.
How's that
on
one?
the cheek. We can give it a go. Another whiskey and you probably...
Yeah, I'll be ready for that. Yeah.
You're not driving, are you?
I am driving.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
good whiskey, but...
It is really nice whiskey.
Yeah.
It's so smooth. It's delicious.
Well, we'll get another one in a moment. Keep flowing. I can get you a drink as well if you like. And
Still have my coffee
yeah,
there.
we'll make you a Baileys.
oh,
I
yeah.
like Baileys.
There you
Yeah,
go.
she's a fan of Baileys.
Yeah, we'll make you a coffee Baileys, maybe. Espresso martini.
Irish coffee.
Yeah. How do you make those? One shot of Baileys and coffee, right? And milk. That's it.
I think so.
I think so.
What else?
Yeah, I'll give it. All right, done.
I sort of, back to how I started photography as well.
Yes.
It was a half,
We get sidetracked, don't
we
we?
get so sidetracked.
I know. It's the passion.
It's good. It keeps it flowing. It's nice.
It's good. This is
just
how you get good conversation. Good.
It's almost
good
like
content.
three friends chatting or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
We just didn't answer
Which it
any
is.
of the
Which it is,
questions.
yeah.
that we did.
So I know how you started photography. Maybe.
Oh, and George, who photographed us in Brazil, they met at university.
Wow.
And George was...
It's crazy, eh?
George,
It's-
yes. So George, he was already a photographer. He's a little bit older than me, just a little bit. And he was helping at this photography studio. So he was hired by my university to take care of the photography studio. Therefore, he had an opportunity to study there paying less. So then he started studying marketing. And he was, studying marketing with me, but also, the person responsible for the studio, the photography studio. And obviously, because I really liked photography as well, like we became very close.
Right.
Because there was like, when you do marketing, there is lots of things that you need to do in group. So all the groups were always together. And then he realized that I really liked photography. And I had a camera that was slightly bit better than the cameras that they had at the university as well. So when I showed him my camera, he's like, oh my God. So we bonded very badly about all those things. So he helped me a lot in the beginning. My first shoots in the studio and stuff like that, it was only possible because of him. Like if nowadays I'm good on taking a light, putting a light back together and whatnot, it's because, every now and again he would make me do it like 10 times in the studio to help out the other students and stuff like that. So he's a big part of who I am as a professional nowadays. And he got to photograph a wedding back in Brazil. So
That's pretty special, actually.
That was very
It
special.
was amazing.
I have a few early mentors as well who definitely shaped what I do. I'm going to cut you off. Tell me your photography story.
Yeah,
How did
so
you get in?
my high school offered photography courses, so I did it originally in year 9.
Yeah.
And then I was going to do sports science. That was what I was going to do. I was going to go to uni and do sports science. But then just the way your timetable came up, I just couldn't do it was like a health some health subject that I wanted to do. I couldn't do that. So the only other one available was photography. So I went into the photography sort of little cert that they do over year 11 and 12. And then that's when
that's when it started.
Went skyrocketing.
Yeah, see that's awesome. I was lucky enough to have media in high school as well, and that's when I first picked up a camera. And yeah, I'm so grateful that I've been able to do it from young age, 14 years old. Because it takes, like, when do you feel like you became proficient with photography? Like, how long did it take you?
Proficient in the sense of what, like
let's
shooting,
say,
editing, and delivering, or like
well, maybe let's say when were you comfortable with your selling your service? Like how
there isn't. Are you comfortable already?
I feel like
I don't know. It depends.
I feel like I've only become comfortable in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
that's really since I've been full time.
Yep.
Before that,
me too.
It's always
I think full time
like
was a jump.
Your foot's half in the door, half out the door, and
Absolutely.
you're not certain you can make it full time because you haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
So then you're sort of
With all that said, though, I still freak out sometimes. There is couples that, like, when they send me a message and whatnot, I can tell that it's a wedding that I really want. And sometimes I freak out. I'm like, oh my God, what if I'm too expensive for this person?
Yeah.
What if this? What if that? I really want to do this. So
it's so hard to position yourself, especially in pricing, and there's just so many different factors, I think. And weddings are the hardest service to sell in photography. Do you guys dabble in like events, commercial, any of that other stuff as well?
Yes.
I know you do commercial.
All of my, so I also work for Soko Studios, which is
Soko,
a creative agency in Perth. And a lot of the commercial work that I do is all through Soko.
Do you know their booking process?
Do I know their booking process? It's not going to go on there.
But yes, and you probably find it's a lot more streamlined compared to weddings.
It is. It's a lot of, especially Soko. It's a high volume, quick turnaround. So when you're talking about how my proficiency, Soko, like, it's like you're an athlete that could be really, really good, but you're a bit unfit. You're not that proficient at getting everything done. You just get whipped into shape. So in terms of I used to be very I don't know, ADHD is probably not the right, like very OCD about and very perfectionist about photos. So perfectionist because it's that passion and the artsy side, most things. But it comes across into photography.
But it's normal.
So
it's normal being a perfectionist,
especially
as an artist, like you said. I think it is normal.
But then it's being able to then go, okay,
translate it to
I'm
a
making
commercial
money a little bit now, and this is commercial, so it still needs to be a high-end product, and you want it to be at that level. But also, it's at a point where it's like, okay, you got to fucking move on with it now. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to.
You have to be so disciplined. You have to be so disciplined. And you do need to look at it like the hourly rates. You need to say. And I think personally for me, I just set it, and I say this is the hourly rate. Whatever it is for the service I'm charging, I will not go below it, and that's that. And then this is what I'm going to do within that hourly rate. And if it goes over, it's no. Because if you start to do it differently, I think you start to enter those kind of weird areas where you know, and then it's all about, I guess, part of it might be your confidence in being able to sell because you don't know what you're actually worth because you haven't had enough rejection yet. I think being rejected will naturally position you where you should be in the market, right? And then you will obviously go up over time as you get better at marketing or photography or whatever skill.
Realizing your worth is so big.
Yeah.
Like understanding that, okay, you can't get this done in an hour. It's not because you can't get it done. It's because expectations are unrealistic. You need to. You can't work
with those clients.
You need to.
They'll eat you alive.
You need to communicate and make sure expectations are in reality of the scope of what's actually happening in the shoot.
I think that his biggest growing up into photography was he used to always have smaller jobs. Do one commercial shoot this week, another one commercial shoot next week. When he got into a point that it was 5 commercial shoots in one day, and that's a Monday, right? The Tuesday had basically the same, and then you need to see things slightly bit different.
You can't keep up.
It's just,
obviously, you're gonna do a professional work and edit that professionally and this and that. But we could spend 10 hours in one image if we want to, right? But you just can't do that when you have that load So seeing his beginning of that load was very interesting because he would still like, you know, curling, like, oh my God, it would take him forever to curl like 1,000 images. Sometimes it would take him like 5 hours, mate. 5 hours, like I could do this in 15 minutes. Let's go. And that's without AI, because I don't use AI for basically anything yet.
It's really important to become proficient in those type of things, because otherwise, I think the reason it's important is because other people, like Bel, it will become proficient, you know, and then other people who haven't learned how to do it that fast, you will obviously fall behind and you won't be able to compete, right? And
big thing I've realized is like, especially us as photographers, I don't know about you on Instagram, you're scrolling. Isabel does the same, I know she does. We dissect everything. Like if you're watching a movie, I got that from Isabel as well. She's watching a movie, she's not just watching the movie, she's like looking at every scene. Someone from film, you probably do the same, and like, what's the lighting like for this shot? How's this, how's that? It's the same on Instagram as well. And I feel like as photographers, we notice a lot more about an image than the normal eye would normally just notice. So for people, our customers and stuff like this, a fast 1-day turnaround compared to 2 weeks to get photos back. If the photo is, maybe the photo in 2 weeks, yes, it'll be perfect. But 2 weeks, the moment's passed, it's gone, everything's high volume, it needs to be quick these days. So a 1-day turnaround, it's still an amazing image. It may not be, okay, everything in this entire frame is absolutely perfect.
And I've said that to a lot of my editors as well. It's, you know, it doesn't have to be 100%, it can be 80%. Exactly. Especially for the corporate events. And and you need to communicate with the client, right, in order to understand how fast do they want it turned around. Because, you know, we could turn it around tomorrow, but it's not going to be the best editing.
But sometimes you think that, and then the client goes back, oh my God, this is the most amazing gallery I've ever seen in my entire life, and I sent it in going, I could have done a little bit better here, there, and there, but you're just over-sampling everything because you're...
What we need to understand is that our clients, they are clients. They are not highly skewed in visual art, so they don't know what's going on. I'm not saying that you can deliver shit work, like I'm not saying that at all, but sometimes what we see that could have slightly bit more improvement, only another photographer on your level are going to be able to see that. Even when you show to a photographer that is, you know, have been started for not that long or whatever, is going to look at it and is going to see no flaws. So, you know, it's important as well for us to know where the flaws are so we can improve them over time and whatnot, but not get too caught up over that because most people won't realize.
They won't realize. And it depends on the job as well. And I think that kind of comes back to my thinking on weddings is like weddings are really hard to book because you need to do a lot of warming up and you need to be very convincing and you need to have a very strong kind of trust established with the client already before they you know, pay for your service, which, you know, costs a lot of money. And, you know, compared to the corporate where usually they are smaller jobs and they're faster turnaround. Like the corporate clients, I've looked at their journey, they'll visit my website, they'll hit the inquiry form, they'll email me, and then they'll book me based on how that first email or call goes, and it's done. But wedding clients, it will be, they'll visit my White James page, they'll visit my Instagram, they'll email me saying, you know, I've seen your Instagram, I feel like I trust you, and then we'll book a call, and then we'll book a meeting. And, you know, it's a long process. And
it's actually their money. It's not Big Corp's money.
That's
you know?
right. It's their money, and
it's their moment.
It's not only that.
It's their biggest moment of their lives.
It's their dream.
It's their dream.
You know, there is some people that they've been dreaming about getting married since. You know, they are not
wearing
even
dresses.
they're not even on the age of dating and whatnot, but you know, some people were planning and talking about that. So I feel like
such a privilege though, isn't it? To be trusted.
To be trusted and do it. Oh, it's amazing.
It's a lot of responsibility.
We're the best job in the world. Like, literally.
Wedding photography is great.
Honestly, it's
amazing. If you can put up with the body strain, then
it's so much
you guys
body
do yoga? You can do yoga?
We have done one yoga. We got yoga mats. That's the first step, right?
Gotta get that stretching on.
Stop bullshitting.
We bought yoga mats. That's not bullshitting. We actually did buy yoga mats, and we've done one yoga lesson at home in front of the TV.
Look,
YouTube premium,
this is what it's funny when people ask me about like wedding photography and this and that. I always ask them like, how you be on your feet for 10 hours? And then people look at me like I have 3 heads, you know. But like, look. learning about photography, like you can learn about photography, you can learn about, basically anything. But there is some people that just have it in them to be okay, to be on top, like literally on their feet for 10 hours.
You need to
and
be
there
a
is some
certain
other
type of
people that they
person.
can't, like they physically can't.
It's not just on the feet, it's on, like you're
Switched on the whole
you're
time.
switched on
Yep.
like for customer facing like service style.
Oh, but
for
I
10
start
hours as
from
well.
the start,
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm not gonna tell people how hectic it actually is, and that sometimes it goes for 15 hours, not really 10, But like my very first question is that, like, how do you go standing on your feet for 10 hours? And people are like, how is that relevant? I'm like, oh well.
It's very relevant. I completely agree. Yeah, it's
What about being on 10 hours on your feet with like 5 kilos or 7 kilos of gear hanging on you the entire time?
yeah. I've started to approach my photography differently because of the longevity issue. Longevity on my body. Because I'm feeling pains. I'm like,
Right.
So 2 cameras. Like I only use 2 cameras for certain parts of the day, and when I can use 1 camera, I'll only use 1 camera, and that's just because I want to be in it for the long run.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a bit worried about that actually.
Get to reception,
Yeah.
straps come off.
I'm on that age as well of getting
Yeah.
worried about that, especially because this year I had bursitis already. And let me tell you, it's
the
a pain
shoulder.
on the shoulder, and it's a excruciating pain on the shoulder. And it's just like, there's not much I can do about that rather than taking a
You
needle
got a bloody
in.
concert with bursitis, holding the camera overhead like this because the stage was so tall the entire time. I don't know how the hell
Crazy.
she did it. She's crazy.
Perseverance,
Brazilians are
motivation.
crazy.
Brazilian
It
or
was a new
Isabel thing.
order
Brazil's
as
built
well.
different, man.
It was a new order.
Maybe you're just built differently. Just
It was new order, guys. I had to.
Yeah.
Do you understand how big new
Yeah,
order
yeah.
is? I just had to. But let me tell you, on the second song, I was actually crying. I had tears coming out whilst
And
I
it
was
wasn't
still
was it
trying.
because the song was so good or because the shoulder was so sore?
A little bit of both.
yeah. I think the other thing that I'm always really interested in is, so like you said, some people have it, some people don't. How do you feel that, or how do you think that relates to actually photography itself? Do you think some people have it and some people don't have it, or do you think anyone can become a photographer?
I feel like there's 2 types of people. There's people that work their ass off to get really, 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 really amazing at photography. She's worked her ass off.
I'm not really, really, really amazing yet, but I've worked a lot
Very good.
on that. It wasn't something that I was born with, let's put it that way.
And then there's other people that have maybe a creative eye off from the bat. They pick up a camera and there's something they just pick in compositions and stuff that just looks visually pleasing to the eye off the bat, and they may not have much sort of basis for it. But it's from there, both can get to professional levels, in my opinion, of photography and still get to the best that they can do. The one who has a bit of a better eye may not have the drive that the other does and may not get to the level. So I think the starting point, you can very clearly see who has maybe a bit of an eye and who doesn't. But it shouldn't deter anyone from doing it.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel-
a really good way to put it, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like anyone can do anything if they set their minds to it. The thing with running a photography business, though, is that you need to put your mind into 2 things. One thing is mastering the art of photography, the other thing is mastering the art of business. And those 2 things, they're 2 different.
They're very different.
And the art of communication.
Well, it goes into the business area, right? That it goes into more areas as well. I feel like sometimes I see people that their photography is absolutely amazing, but their people's skill is absolutely not there at all whatsoever. And then those people, they struggle to have a photography business. And sometimes they come to me and they're like, how can you do it and I can't? And like, sometimes I feel like, because you don't have people's skills, but I can't
Hold up
tell
the
that to people either, But I just feel sorry for those people because like, I have many friends, I know many people that I look at their images and I'm like, oh my God, this is lots better than what I can produce. But the person just have zero understanding about business or marketing or how to communicate with people.
But you can learn communication skills as well. I think it's very difficult. I used to actually be a bit of the kind of introverted, nerdy kid in school, in high school. So I never was very outgoing. And then over time, I kind of learned how to talk with people, how to work with people.
That's it. Same.
Yeah.
How did you go going through, especially the photographic and film industry, coming from a very young age and shooting events and stuff like that, right? but you're so young and you're shooting people that are so old, much older than you.
Yeah.
The intimidation factor, at least for me, it was.
Yep.
You know, I worked at, there was another company that did events photography, but I worked at when I was like 19. And the anxiety that I would have before shoots was like next level, because it's just, you don't have the confidence in yourself or what you're doing, you know, you just view yourself as what's how I did, view yourself as like a kid who has a camera, and people like, you know, and the view with photography is like, oh, is this your real-time job?
Yeah.
Now it is, fuck yeah, it is.
Yep.
I do photography full time.
Yep. Yep.
And that's,
People are amazed when you say it to them.
Yeah.
People don't believe it.
Does
So
people
then
ask
that
you
as
as
a
well,
kid-
but
Yep, all the
what
time.
do you do for a living?
Yep,
And then
all
you
the
say,
time.
I'm a photographer. And then they go like,
But what do you actually do?
Yeah, but you say
what do you mean?
well, I say I run a business. You know, it's I run a photography business, and they understand. You know what you're saying, because it's like you said, it's not just the photography skills. You're not just a photographer. You do many more things than just photography.
Many hats.
Like
Photography is a tiny little part of
very
it.
small part of it, and you need to be very good at that small part. But you also need to be very good at the broader picture. And I think for me, it's marketing. That's the big one. Communication, and then just dedication. It's really just dedication. You know, I work 16-hour days all the time. You know? I'm sure you guys do as well.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to, and you have to accept it. That's what the
I
industry
don't
is.
know how to act any other way, to be quite honest with you.
You just do 16-hour days all the time.
Sometimes it's hard for me. It was hard for me to accept that in the beginning. I was like,
I don't unplug. I don't like wasting my time. Like I have ADHD and I don't like wasting my time. So even when I'm watching a movie, I don't sit to watch a movie and think about nothing and grab my popcorn. I grab my popcorn, I'm watching the movie, I'm thinking
Learning about photography as well, and here reading a book.
No. On the movie, it needs to be on the same screen, because if it's too many screens, as well, my brain just goes bananas. But I'm paying attention on all the cuts. I'm paying attention to all the lighting. I'm paying attention in, like, you know, continuation problems that the film has. I pay attention to all those things. I'm not just watching the movie for the sake of watching the movie.
That type of obsession, if you don't mind me saying, is
Yeah,
how
it
you get good. It's how you become a good artist.
Well, you'd be the same too. We have an obsession with photography and videography.
absolutely.
When
We're
people go
consuming
like,
it non-stop,
I lived and breathed
24/7.
it for years.
Yeah.
Literally, that's all I did. You know,
when
every
people
day.
tell me like, oh, I've deleted my social media because I'm wasting way too much time scrolling, like, I don't understand that concept either.
Yeah.
Because I only follow people that I care about their work, or I care
It's
about
like an
them
addiction.
personally.
Yeah.
It's like an addiction.
The way in which you use the app's a lot different to a
it's
lot of
very
other people. Though
different,
I'm similar. I don't know how you are, but I'm not
Yeah,
I
like
use for
reels. Sometimes I'll
inspiration.
use for reels, but often it's for viewing people's work.
I use for inspiration, I use for
But that's a very
critiquing.
disciplined way to use it, and not a lot of people use it that way, because the algorithm's designed to keep you on the platform for as long as possible. Obviously, if you're on it for educational purposes and you're learning, it's a great thing to have. But if the platform is pushing content out to you that's useless, other than giving you a massive dopamine hit that's causing addiction, because that's what it is. It's everyone's addicted to their phones nowadays.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
It's bad. It's horrible.
Shockingly bad, isn't it?
It's bad.
And
But
it's not just younger generation. It's like
the younger generation.
It's
everyone.
spreading through
It's
everyone.
I'm addicted to my phone. You know, I'm addicted.
We all are.
We're all
Yeah.
addicted to it.
We all are.
It's never not by my side. It's messed up. You know.
We all are, but at the same time, we run business
It's
that
hard
needs
to
to be like
separate.
that.
It
a
is.
little bit. Do you know what I
Because you
mean?
need to
Like,
respond right away.
yes, we run business that people are talking to us, and that, like, my clients, if they talk to me,
What's your client workflow? Let's dive into that.
yeah. As in, they talk to us.
Well, we've
No,
got our
like,
social media
so,
channels.
that's
we have
because
website.
you're just about to go
We
into
have
it, but I think
forms.
Yes. Yes. What I was about to say is that, like, sometimes the client message me on social media, and if I don't answer like an hour or two later, they're a little bit mad at me, like full on.
So what's your workflow there? Like, how do you guys manage it? How do you guys keep up with that demand of instant replies, instant calls?
I try to do as instant as I can, especially like if it's on social media. I also try to put the person into the
correct channel.
correct channel. Let's put it that way, like correct channel to an extent.
In terms of like if the message through on social media, we're going to reply to it, and we're going to, if they ask for a price, probably give them the price straight away. But then we'll also say, hey, what's your email? Let us send you our proper wedding proposal and like get this kicked off properly.
To always
we're not
put
saying,
the person into the flow that I've created.
we're not just
Gotcha.
kicking them out going,
Gotcha.
yeah, no, we're not going to answer anything until you give us your email. We give them what they want, like the information off the bat to an extent,
Yeah.
But
then
I
also
always bring people to the funnel that I've
moving them
created.
into the
So do you guys have an automated funnel? Do you guys have a...
Parts
Gotcha.
automated and parts
And you
not
use like a
automated.
Studio Ninja or...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I believe that it needs, like, automation is really good to speed things up, but there is certain things that needs a human interaction first.
Absolutely.
So by my wedding inquiries, for example, it will always be a human interaction first.
I mean, until we have, I don't know, some AI, realistic human experience that's so real.
Is your human interaction a phone call?
No, it never is a phone call because I don't like talking on the phone. I have a really strong accent, like nowadays it's a bit less, but I still have it, right? So people struggle to understand me over the phone.
So how do you build that trust?
We do in-person coffee meetings with every single wedding client
So
that we
as
book.
soon as they inquire, you get them in for coffee?
Yep,
Yes.
100% straight away.
My first answer is like whatever the question is, if it's money related or time related or whatever, that's the questions there.
Okay.
And then my second thing that it's always on that email, it's an invitation for a meeting with us.
A coffee or a beer?
Coffee or beer on us. You guys can choose. And it's a nice way to gauge the style of couples you're going to get as well. When the person says okay for a beer, like you already know it's going to be a party person and like, you know, when the person says yes to the coffee, you can expect a little bit more serious. But like, it depends.
Do you ever turn away clients?
Yes.
Yeah. I've started to do that as well. I think our industry, which once the client books us, we're at the complete mercy of the client, right? Because the client can turn around and they could probably ruin our lives, really. You know, leaving reviews, because that's the whole how we get work, right? Is through word of mouth, through people having reviews online. And given it is such a big day of people's lives, if you stuff one up, that's going to spread, right?
One bad review leaves a lot worse taste in the mouth than 5 good reviews.
And if you take the clients who are more likely, you know, obviously you've turned people away probably for that reason because you had that red flag. I think that's a smarter thing to do.
Yeah.
And,
Look, I never had a problem with it. I just always hear people talking about the bridezillas and all that, you know. From the beginning that I started working with it, I just hear lots of people complaining about, you know, expectation and bridezilla and this and that. And then in my head, like I come from communications and marketing. When I see all these photographers complaining about it, it was mainly here in Perth when I was doing TAFE. So I was like, okay. How you avoid this to happen is getting to know the person first, and then.
So you've had good practices from the start, and that's.
No one told me that. It just turned something in my head, and then you know, the very first wedding that I've got in here, I was talking to the couple and whatnot, and I was like, great, I feel great about this. Let's do it. And then the bride looked at me and she said, why do I feel like I was being interviewed? Like, were you actually going to say no to me if it didn't click? And I said, hell yeah, I would. I would tell you to go with other people.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's not that you don't like that person. It's that you can tell that there is someone else that's going to suit that day better.
And there's some couples you just don't want to touch with a fucking pole. I had my second, so after I shot that, there's some couples
it's
you
true
wouldn't
though.
want to touch with a pole.
You have to call it out.
There's,
I never had that though.
There's like the first wedding I shot, which was like a family friends, you know. Then I had another one, which was a contact through TAFE, and they set me up with a couple. I went and had a chat with them. And off the bat, they were straight into my case about the contract and all this and all that. And I was like, yeah, nah, look, I don't want this.
I think you had probably had a similar experience to me. Did you find as you started to increase your rates, the clients started to respect you more? And
yes.
Yes, 100%. We had that.
The lower end clients you were getting at the start were the ones who gave you a lot of the hard time.
So much more hassle with, and
so I think it's funny how that works. To being that expert, right, and to position yourself that way. So in a way, you don't want to give the client too much power and authority over yourself, because then they can turn around and do stuff like demand an extra, I don't know, for instance, let's say a photo booth, or demand an extra hour for free. And they get that authority over you because they feel like they know what your contract should say, what the style should be, how the images should look, and they don't trust you. Then
that's why if you've got a strong business model with things in place and systems in place, that happens a lot less, I feel.
Yeah.
Because there's not enough room for them to do that, because there's things in place that this is how it works, this is how we run our business.
Yep.
If you're not happy with it,
Yep.
we'll introduce you to someone else we know.
That's why the contracts are so important.
So important.
And you guys
know
have
what?
done yours very
Working-
thoroughly, I'm sensing.
Yeah. Working in a camera shop,
Me too.
I was shocked by the amount of photographers that came in and they don't have contracts.
Yeah.
Or they don't have, there's things that like, it goes back to the whole thing of they're a great photographer, but the business mind-wise, they lack.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're still in business today, and I hope that they're better at the business aspect of it. But there's people who didn't have contracts, and they're asking me. I'm working in a camera shop. I'm like, why are you asking me?
And
You're meant to be the professional photographer here, and you're asking me contract questions?
I feel like, 10, 20 years ago, it was a little bit more complicated. You know, like you need to go to a lawyer and this and that. Nowadays, the internet has so much to offer. And like, for example, the contract, the contract that we use, it's basically the one from Studio Ninja. So
Just tweaks.
Studio Ninja
here
has
and
the
there.
contract-based form. Studio Ninja is a platform from Australia. Like, you know, they don't sponsor me in any way or form, but I just feel like it's very smart for Australians to be using it, because they already spoke with their lawyers, you know, like they know what's going on in the Australian market. When I sent the documentation, we have a lawyer as well, so I was like, here you go, can you just check those and see if it's all good? And she came back to me, she was like, oh, it's actually better worded than I would. And these people know what they're talking about, you know.
That's really interesting. Good on you having a lawyer. So I don't have a lawyer. What do you find is the most important thing in your contract? Because I know for me personally, like I have a lot of different things that I've recently just added in. Things like if you want to have, one experience I had recently with a client was that she tried to book the shortest amount of time possible, and then she tried to fit everything in that time frame. And but then her expectation was that we would have time to set up multiple cameras at each location. We would have time to set up the lighting. We would have time to shoot in that way we would usually do when we book for 10 to 12 hours. So that's one thing I outlined in my contract. It was, you know, with the 6 hours, you know, this is kind of what we get to have covered, and you know, we're not responsible if we don't have the time to set up the cameras. And if you want us to capture something in a certain way, tell us, and I'll tell you how much time you need to book. And that, you know, so stuff like that is kind of how I've been using my contract more. So I don't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've always done it by intuition as well. Like I set up the packages explaining exactly what the person is going to get. So when the person chooses a package, and then the contract comes with the explanation of the package as well. So that explanation is already there.
Before you go on, how your package is structured? So
we
By
generally,
hour.
we
If
generally
it's a
have like
wedding-
a 3 or 4 hour package, so like a half day package and then like
Yeah.
a full day coverage.
But do your inclusions change on the duration?
It
Yeah.
does.
So like
So
maybe
what's-
the 3 hour package is only going to include one location that you're having
Yeah.
where it is
Gotcha.
at. If you go to half day, you can have the option that you can have 2 locations, but again, it depends.
Yeah.
You know,
It's to avoid
far
people
away.
of doing that.
Doing that.
So you do it on the initial phase.
Yeah, straight
Yes.
off the bat.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I do hourly as well. 6 to 12 is what I do, and then I don't change the inclusions though. I think my top photo video packages offer a free shoot. Other than that, I just have them all the same. And,
And mine is all different.
All different,
Inclusions
yeah.
are all different. And then I put the pick and choose quote on Studio Ninja that allows you to show the person more than one.
Yeah.
And I send it like that. And then the client goes and read all the different stuff, and then they choose the one that they want.
And
And
then-
if they choose something that doesn't make sense, or like it's already included here or there, I phone them to let them know, like, look, this doesn't really make sense. You're already getting that in there. Save money by doing this. Or if I realize that the person is trying to squeeze, you know, a 10-hour shoot in a 2-hour situation as well, I always go back and like, look, this, you only get that. If you want more, you know, having extra, for them to pay to have us extra hours on the day, it's possible, but it's more expensive.
yes, you should do that. Yeah, I think it's very important to have a surcharge. Where has your contract come in use then? Has it ever come in use? Has it ever saved you?
We haven't, well, we haven't, have we? Not to the point where it's saved us, but it's just not. It
Have
needs
you
to be
ever
there.
referred to it or?
No, I never had problems with deliverables. I never had problems
Never had
with...
problems with people signing it either. It's
No.
sent off the bat.
No.
It needs to be signed.
Yeah. Sometimes I get... what I get most, like people anchoring, it's more about my commercial stuff. It's more like
So
the
setting the price
artists.
low is what you mean by anchoring?
No, they asking.
Inquiring.
Inquiring, yes. Sorry. When people ask something about the contract, it's usually the artists that I work with, and it's mainly by just like trying to understand what they can do with that photo, because I have some more like, because I do lots of musicians, and you know, if you want a photo just to put on your Instagram, it's one thing. If this photo is going to your album and to a billboard, it's different.
I charge commercial license as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
That's
this
good, yeah.
is
Very important.
this is there and it's explaining that, but it's the only thing that I get a phone call back as artist being like, can you explain to me a little bit how that works, for how long I can use this photo in this and that kind of thing.
So I introduced a commercial license and included it as a kind of like add-on, not an add-on in the sense you can purchase it additionally, but more so that it allows me to provide you with a better service, because now I'm charging a commercial license. I can do things like have rate backup, because now I'm getting a fee from you every year, so I can pay for storage in the backup. And I can do things like continue to subscribe to your video assets, because you have to subscribe to Motion Array, and if you stop subscribing, you can't use the assets anymore. So it just allowed me to kind of clarify all that and put in perspective like how our industry works as well.
Yeah.
Like storage is expensive.
It is.
It's
Underrated how expensive it is.
I'm upgrading to a 6-bay NAS, and if I was to kit out with 10 terabyte hard drives, it would be like $5,000.
Yeah,
And,
we may need your help at some point, because I don't know how to set those things up, but I kind of need them.
I'll let you
to
know
the
how
point
well
where
I
we
need
need
one, because this is a DAS, direct storage device. I want
Yeah.
to set up a NAS,
Yeah.
and my editors, my clients, they can all access my server,
Yeah.
Local
and then I
network.
don't need Dropbox anymore. So that's the plan.
Nice.
So yeah, I purchased the machine, and then you
Do
need
you
the
know how to
drive.
build those things, or you're getting someone to do that for you?
Well, nowadays, so,
YouTube's going to help you learn, or you already learned?
So I got Studio Ninja about a month ago, and and I had no idea how to
Welcome
use
to
it.
the fam.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the way I set it up overnight, one night, and I was done. And the way it's good, but the reason I was able to do that was because I used AI. And every time I got stuck, I just used the voice command. I said, I can't find this. Where is it? Bang, 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 bang.
Oh,
Found it
yo,
instantly.
nice.
How do I do it? Done. And I set up all my workflows for all my different clients, all through AI. And it's just like, it's incredible, like how easy it is to be
AI is
able to
revolutionizing the game,
It's
isn't
changed
it?
everything.
Yeah.
It's part of my every hour workflow now.
Yeah.
I don't, like, if I'm on the computer, I have ChatGPT open.
Yeah.
So I can
Same,
bounce
all
my
the
thoughts
time.
off it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have a break and dive into AI, and then
Yeah.
we'll dive into studio style shoots as well, because I think AI would be a good one to get into.
I'm going to have a toilet break.
Yeah, have a toilet
you've
break, water.
done-
I'll make you a Bailey's.
Doing the Studio Ninja stuff, you've done the... Do you want to pause the video?
No, just leave it running.
The Studio Ninja stuff. So you've got to a point that you can do automation flows as well in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I said when I use some automation. There is when the wedding is booked and we're not like.
But English for you.
Yeah,
Brazilian
absolutely.
cocktail.
No, I'm hoping to do these quite often, so
Yeah.
we'll definitely do it again.
Look at him inviting himself back on.
Smooth move.
Slid in there. After 3
For
hours.
someone that was freaking out by the door, didn't we?
I was freaking out all morning. So.
I was freaking
He's
out.
freaking out since yesterday.
I know, I was just shaking.
And now he's like,
It's
when we
nerve-wracking.
come back. I see.
Nah, just having a whiskey with a friend.
Spilling on your face a little bit.
Got an avatar.
Yeah. I need to get like a projector.
Oh, dude, the projectors are awesome.
Awesome, man.
They're so good. We use those in shoots.
Yeah,
They're so
I need to
good.
get one. It's not cutting it with the with just the still lights.
Projector and the
When you say projector, are
Yeah,
you talking about
I was
the...
just about to go to that.
I can enhance this light.
Like
But
you're talking
what
about
is it? Is the thing...
the thing where you put the modifiers in? Yeah.
So
Because we use both. We use an actual projector for movies, for photos, but we
Oh,
also
right.
use a projector that you were talking about, where you put the things in it.
Non-light projector.
Yeah,
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so
Yes.
I want to get it so I can cast like a really thin like window bar.
Spotlight.
Or
Yes,
window.
yes.
Yeah. They're so good.
I did this.
We
last
have
minute,
it.
but
We have it.
You got one.
Yeah,
Should've
whenever
Yeah,
you want,
yeah, we'll bring
whenever
it.
you want.
Well,
just
next time
let
we're
me
on, we'll
know.
bring.
Yeah.
This is the one that stays on the C-stand in like my living room.
Yeah,
And we don't take out
Oh, you just leave the
much.
projector on.
we leave the actual thing on there. Yeah, fully kitted up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whenever you need, just let us
Yeah,
know. The only
absolutely.
thing
I
about
love them,
that,
yeah.
it needs, we don't have the known lights that you can take out of the cable, so it needs to be
It needs to be powered all the time.
powered.
To wall. It's not battery.
Oh, that's a
Ability.
problem, but all LED lights.
Yeah, it's all pretty much like that.
Well,
anyway.
we have
A lot of
some that are fully, like, they go out powered.
What's that angle? It's like a 17 degree?
35.
35 degree. The zoom, the actual
Right.
projector has like different
I didn't know
angles
that. Okay.
for like wider
Right.
or
Okay.
tighter
Yeah. Sure.
spreads.
I've used the one I used had like little slits and you could like move it.
Yes,
and then-
this
Yes.
one has that too.
Yes.
So you have little slits, but then you can pop in window frames or
Yeah.
and we have like the little
And we have
booklets.
all the
with
different things as well. We bought every single modifier that the known light have out there. We have them.
Have you seen
At
the
time that you want, just let us know.
Have you seen the small rig torch one?
That thing's cool, eh?
Yeah. Do you
I've
reckon-
seen
I
it
haven't seen too much on
recently.
this actually. I think I've seen a little bit, but not a
I
lot.
just don't think it's powerful enough.
Yeah.
I think that it will work as a small toy for certain things. You know, I have another product that is a hobo light. It's called Iris.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cute as well. Very
like this
cool.
thing, little cute, little, just adds a little bit of pop,
Yeah.
you know?
But it doesn't though, because
doesn't,
like
yeah.
it's just not powerful enough.
I
You
mean,
know.
that one's coming out pretty good.
Like not for subject. but
That
to add a
thing,
little
that
bit.
thing has about 20 watts, no, or more than that.
I'm not too sure.
The Iris.
The Iris have
Iris
5.
does similar effect to this though. You can cast it for like a little mini effect. Oh, that's the main casting of blue, but you know this adds just a little bit.
The Iris does. It's not that strong.
It's not.
We have another thing that is like that.
Yeah.
It's completely overexposed.
Fuck.
Fix it in post.
Fix it in post.
Yeah. That's why I don't like the 5.2s for filming because see that histogram? That histogram's amazing. Like I just hold my hand up, I see it's around 50, 60, and I
Yeah.
know that's exposed. Like this doesn't, it has the histogram's rubbish. I don't know.
So you're saying the external monitor histogram on this is
Yeah, so that
way
they bring
better.
things, the waveform, sorry.
The waveform, yeah.
Yeah, so I love using those. Yeah.
I think it's what lacks the most on those cameras
How
that
good
they
is the
call it
R5 too, though?
hybrids.
It's good. It's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
We fight over who uses it every shoot now.
I need
Eh?
to buy another one.
Literally.
I
though.
want to buy another one, but yeah.
I want it too, but people need to book us. Book
I
us
know,
for
yeah.
wedding.
And then we'll get better cameras. I know it's a problem with, like, how much, like, what percentage of revenue do you guys spend on gear?
Well, considering
Last
our business
year,
has only been, this is our second year in
100%.
business, right?
Yeah.
Bel Cal Photography, right? So I'd say about 50% of all profits,
Last year.
50% went to living,
Yeah.
and 50%, which was the remaining amount, went to gear.
Yeah.
It was like $30,000 on gear last year.
Yeah.
It was more
I think
than
I
that.
spent,
Was-
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
more.
I spent about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's great, just claim
It's-
it all.
Yeah.
But this is the thing as well.
But it's like, fuck.
Not only that, though, like we
gets me.
upgraded from 5Ds
From,
to
DSLR to
this.
mirrorless.
You know, like it
5D4?
was,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
It
two
was
5D4s.
Yeah.
we needed to do, and also
But you need it, yeah.
it's
The
not
mirrorless
like
is amazing.
yeah, and it's not like we buy gear every day all the time. Like we really don't.
Yeah.
You know, like we upgraded our computer as well,
Yeah.
but the computer that we had was a 2014 one.
Yeah,
We've
it's,
been
it's an
using it
investment.
last
It'll
year.
pay off. And it will.
Exactly.
It always will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, we did spend a lot of money, but it's
Yeah.
not something that we plan on keep on spending that way.
But it'll get you money back.
Investing in the business is so
Yeah.
important.
So important. You have to.
Reinvesting is so important.
I spend $500 a week on ads,
Yeah,
advertising. So yeah, works because I'm
Yeah.
not going broke. So
exactly.
yeah,
You
at
have to
first I was
spend.
terrified. I was like, fuck, I'm spending all this money, but over time, as more leads come through, and then it just pays for itself. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
Keeps
It
the
is.
ball rolling and keeps everything moving.
I spend a little
Don't let
bit
things just
less
come
than
and fall
what
in your
you're
lap.
spending at the moment, but it's about that as well.
Yeah.
And it just works.
It
Like
works, yeah. It always shocks me.
Every time I check, like
What is this
I'm
magic?
always checking on top of that, you know, and to see so how many leads I got this week from ads, and
so you
it's
do the
always
pixel tracking then and stuff like that.
we do have
great,
one,
great.
in the
Squarespace?
website. Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
Squarespace is good as well.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Click
got
over the buttons. I
More
remember the
AI
first
features
time.
coming out.
Yeah, the
Squarespace.
first time I had to put a pixel on a website, it was like, 16 years
You use
ago.
GPT?
Holy fuck.
Mate,
Didn't have back then.
Yeah.
I did a
My
pixel
first
on one of my
website
first
that I've
businesses.
done
But nowadays it's so.
It took me ages.
It's a lot easy.
So-
Like I was already preparing myself
Yeah.
mentally,
Yeah.
when I was building this website to do the pixel. It's literally 3 clicks nowadays. I'm like, fuck yeah, thank you. Technology got there.
Right.
It's got there. It's really good. I was amazed at how the Google AI Studio could talk me through my screen recording,
Yeah?
my live screen recording, and show me how to do things in DaVinci Resolve as well. So it's
Yeah?
just like, it's just, yeah.
I've not used it. I've not used
check
that.
that out.
Yeah.
Google, the Google Studio. I think you got to apply for access, but yeah, it's pretty amazing. I think you can do it on GPT now, but
Yeah.
every month it's getting better and better, and it's freaky.
It's
like
freaky.
scary.
It's going to be
Yeah.
at the point of general AI in the
we-
next few years.
How
It's
much
gonna be
do you
scary.
guys use AI? Because me personally, I use it for every event gallery and wedding gallery I do. I use it for all my emails. I use it for pretty much any time I'm drafting or thinking. I'm always putting it into AI.
Yes.
Every single time. So everything I do now, every single task I do goes through AI.
Yes.
And 1 year ago, I wasn't using any AI, and it's like.
No,
like-
I use less than that still.
Yes.
All my texts, all the emails, and everything that I post on socials, it goes through AI.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
I tell AI the tone of voice that I want,
Yep.
everything. Like the marketing just makes me brief people quite well. So when AI came, it's just like briefing, the machine. So I do the whole step by step and the tone of voice, who am I talking to, this and that. But all my texts ever, it's always through ChatGPT because that was never my forte.
Okay, so you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Often I find I'll either do it like Isabel's taught me how to brief AI properly and get what you want out of it better. But often I'll find myself typing an email, structuring myself, and then chucking it into ChatGPT and then going, make this better, please. And then it will just spit out a little bit, still using the structure in which I've
And that's
created
it.
this thing, but it just makes it a little bit more professional and a bit more
It speeds it up. You don't have to proofread.
Speeds
you
it
don't
up
have
too.
To,
Yeah.
You just, oh my God, it's amazing.
But I haven't
just,
really gone into the other AI things
No.
just yet. I've
Gallery coding
tried,
and stuff.
I've tried a couple
You're
of.
good.
I'm getting a bit
it?
overwhelmed,
Good.
to be honest.
I've been too scared to give it to it.
It is
I'm
overwhelming.
like, how are you going to pick it up?
It's just overwhelming for me. It's just way too many apps nowadays. And there is 30 apps that do calling, 30 apps. And I go okay, I'm going to do a trial of this. And then I can't find the buttons and then I get a little bit upset about
Ask
it,
GPT.
So yeah.
It
So I
literally
need
knows
to,
everything.
Literally.
I want something to help me call.
Yeah.
I'm very finicky about the process
Yeah.
and all that, editing. I don't think I would allow AI to full edit galleries for me and stuff like
That's
that.
what it is. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's going to
Yeah,
get to the point
it's
where it's
pretty
going to
good.
be hard not
It's
to.
gonna
I feel
be better than
it's
us.
it's going to get to the point where you'll be able to. I don't know if it's even at this point now because I've really not gone into it. Where you can teach it your editing style, right, and then it will apply
It's
that
already
through.
there.
It's already at that level, isn't it?
Yep.
So
It's
it's
already
going to
there.
get to the
I
point
don't
where
know if I trust.
the volume's going to get high enough where it's going to be something that's just.
Yeah.
It's going to be in part of everyone's business workflow. Well, it already is becoming.
Yeah. Well,
It just depends the
yeah.
extent of how the business uses AI, but I feel like everyone's business at some level is using AI.
Yeah. We're
Well,
already
yeah.
late for that party,
Yeah.
let me tell you.
Yeah, we're fossils.
Yeah, you should jump on. Imogen's good.
Yeah,
Imogen
what's
AI,
your
Yeah.
stuff that you
Imogen.
use?
So
Does it have Bel Calling as well?
Yep. So Imogen's really good.
I'm gonna make
It is a bit. You got to pay for it, but
Yeah. This does
all of them. You need
all of
to,
it, or do you use separate ones? One for
No,
culling, one for
no,
editing,
so I
one for
use
this, one
Imogen
for that.
everything.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. So it's good enough that I trust it. That if I shoot like a birthday or I shoot an engagement party,
Yeah.
Even a corporate event. If I shoot a corporate event, I would put it through Imogen and I would do it would be accurate up to about 85%, I'd say. So about 15% is how much I have to go back and edit.
And are you giving it any instructions, or are you just going, cull this gallery?
The profile.
Do you have to give outputs that you want, or like, how does that work?
Just the profile.
Yeah, okay.
So built a profile, you need 3,000 photos.
Yeah.
Consistent style.
Yeah.
Our event work is very consistent, so we're able to develop a very consistent preset, and it edits so accurately. There's things that it does wrong and doesn't do well, like noise reduction.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes the white balance might be off, but it crops very accurately, it straightens very accurately. But if you want to do more creative things with weddings,
The Dutch tilt.
you probably, the AI struggles there, because when you're editing like a portrait session, you want to do exposure masking, or you want to do like a creative crop, or you want to make it a darker tone and get the highlights to look and then you can kind of control the eye looks and stuff like that. It won't do that. It's more like if you're shooting something like a reception, like a birthday, corporate event, that type of editing will do really well. So if you almost got it perfect in camera, then you're good to go.
Yeah.
But,
It does the culling of images as well. and
yeah, so it stacks them into,
Cool.
so rather than, so what AI has allowed me to do is allowed me to shoot at a faster pace with more risk. So on the job, rather than being conservative and worrying about how much post-production I've got to do later, I don't worry about that anymore. So on the job, I just shoot. And
That's interesting. It's actually changed the way that you're shooting.
I shoot. And so that means I'm able to pose my couples, give them instructions within poses, and just shoot, and then get those really good in-between moments without worrying about the post-production.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
See, I find myself sometimes, I don't know about you, I'll chuck it on like a, high speed or like slow high speed for just the pure thing of facial expressions.
Yep.
When you're going through a movement,
micro expressions.
Micro expressions is huge. So I'd rather, and I have other photographers a second shot for who tell me like, do not do this. I do not like it when you do that. And I'm like, all right, it's your loss. But I feel like there's a way, you shoot in a way that you want to get that perfect facial expression.
They don't want you to have so many images.
Yeah, they don't want to. They don't want to because then they have to cull it, because they don't want to cull all this of the that's 10 shots of the one thing. But it's the micro expressions in the face that you need.
This is what AI allows you to do at an efficient rate. So you no longer need to be worried about that post-production. I was the same. Last year I was the same. If my shooters would give me 4 shots of each moment, I would be upset. But now I say to them, just take risks. Just shoot as much as you can, because then we can give a diversified gallery, and we don't need to be worried about post-production, because our post-production, we turn around galleries in an hour to 2 hours. It's so fast. But I don't think, I guess what I'm worried about AI is that it's going to start to devalue the service a little bit, because people are realizing we're spending less time on post-production maybe. So then people are going to come in and start offering photography for a lot cheaper.
That's going to be interesting, because the high output, fast turnaround time value is potentially getting priced at a certain point now. But if that is then becoming
the norm,
So but then there is the other problem.
You can't get to that second bit without having the first shooting bit though anyway. So it's going to be judged by the people who are in the industry and setting the prices.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that if people in the industry will be, I'm no longer spending 5 hours, I'm only spending 1 hour. So I'm going to reduce my rates. And then it kind of has that trickle effect for the industry. And I don't think that's actually the right approach to take.
No, it's not. I hope it doesn't go to that.
I hope it doesn't as well, because I think what is ultimately going to end up happening with AI is that it's going to become like an Adobe cost. It's going to be so integral to every business that they're just going to charge us.
Oh, 100%.
Because it's going to get so good that it's going to do everything for you, all the editing for you.
Well, a lot of the like ChatGPT models and stuff like that, they're free to use, right? They get gathering all this data.
I pay for GPT.
I don't pay for GPT. Yeah. Well, wait, unless we have actually started paying for GPT now. I think we have.
Yeah.
So I think recently it went to paid.
It is paid.
It is paid now, actually, isn't it?
So I think AI editing is going to go down the same. And I'm worried about. I guess I'm not worried about long term, but I'm worried about this buffer period where there's going to be a lot of photographers reducing. Yeah. And then AI price is going to come up. And then the market price is going to be down here, but it's going to be that weird kind of I
hope people keep their heads and don't change the prices too much, because it's just making it more efficient in the process. It's not actually devaluing the service or anything like that. I don't.
So I'm a big believer in value-based selling. So I don't think necessarily it's the time you spend on it, it's the value you provide from what you're giving them. So if you're providing extremely high quality images, it doesn't matter how you produce them. It's that you are able to provide those images. If you could do those images in an hour compared to 10 hours, you know, you shouldn't.
If you've got someone that can come to an event and cover what you can in 2 hours that someone can't do in 3 or 4, it's not devaluing your service. If anything, you've got higher value because you can do it and cover everything in a short amount of time.
One way to look at it, absolutely. Yeah. You'll be freaked out.
About what?
AI.
Not really. I just don't trust it enough.
You don't trust it?
You know, well, when I've tried, I don't think it was right, like there yet. But I'm happy to give it another go. I've tried this whole like imaging and the other thing like a year or 2 ago.
What were you editing with it?
What am I editing at the moment?
And what were you using?
Oh, it was weddings, wasn't it?
Corporate jobs.
Okay. Yeah. And you found it didn't do a good job there?
I don't know if I tried that one or if I tried like other ones. What is the name of the?
Oh God, there was one that we tried only for like I didn't even end up using it.
Culling or?
Oh God, what was it called?
There was Filter Pixel was the culling one. I don't like Filter Pixel. I bought their lifetime deal. It was $1,000 or something, and I don't use it. Yeah.
Oh.
I think it's rubbish. Sorry, Filter Pixel. Then there's Aftershoot. I think is another one.
Aftershoot. It may
Yes,
have been
I think
Aftershoot.
I've tried that one, and there
rings
is
a bell.
another
Used
one
it.
as well. Yeah, I didn't quite like. Like I don't know. I think I that's my problem as well. Like I need to get to know the buttons and what the buttons are to understand how the program works.
I can show you now. 5 minutes. It's really easy. It's not hard. It's
I'll have a look. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm more than happy to show you. It's so it brings up like a grid view, like in Lightroom, but rather than having individual photos, it has stacked photos. So your photos are grouped into collections, so you can skim them and you can go, well, this group's not what I want, but the next group's good. Then you can look at that group. So you're kind of taking out all the junk. You know? And so you can kind of go through and then pick what groups and then the best photos within those groups. And it's a lot faster. Then 7, 8, and 9 are the keys you use to like rate it, reject it, or So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Sounds good because it obviously stacks it into moments that you've done that.
It's really clever how they've done it.
Because often culling backwards would be a way of, I don't know, Isabel taught me this trick, you cull backwards because often you're shooting, you're workshopping an angle, and then by, the end of the moment, you've got the best version of it. So often I found when I cull forwards through the gallery, I'm starring. Oh fuck, this is the best one, not the one that I picked over here. So then if you cull backwards in reverse.
It depends on how the person shoots, right? But how I shoot, like my logic of shooting is, I see something that it's either a moment that it's important or the composition. I take one photo of it. If I have enough time to reposition, like the bride playing with their dog, if I see it happening, I'll shoot it, right?
So you don't miss it.
If I have time, if the dog stays in there and they still have that connection going for a little longer and I have time to reposition myself to then take a better frame and whatnot, I will take the better frame. So if I work going backwards, the last image is always going to be...
That's a really robust workflow. That's really clever.
It helped me. Because my biggest thing would be especially when I was learning a more proficient culling sort of workflow. That's something I would find myself always, because then you go to do your actual edit and then you've still got 3 of the same thing.
Because sometimes you take one shot, you take the second shot and it's not that yet. But once it is there, you know that it's sharp, is this and that, you go for the next. If I already have this, why the fuck am I going to keep on
that's right.
pressing the button?
Yeah, so
if you go on your last image, chances are you're going to find the best ones faster.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. You got to be a very, disciplined shooter to do that, because you need to make sure you got the photo. Like a lot of photographers aren't like that. A lot of photographers, you see them work. They just.
I used to severely undershoot.
When I see people do that,
overshoot.
it just makes me
I was
anxious.
opposite.
We'll get into that in a moment.
it makes me anxious when I see people just going on like high shutter, whatever it's called, and goes like.
Yeah. I leave it on the
like,
lowest. The lowest
like,
is the good one.
And it's not
I use
only
high
that, like.
Yeah, I see.
And like, you know, when we have an R5, like we do, like, mate, you're gonna
file's
do
so
that, you know, and then you go with 128 gigabytes fucking, and then you put it in there, and then you go like, you need to take 3 showers, do this, do that. By the time that thing is actually important on your, I don't understand those people.
Oops, I keep pushing this table.
Kind of though, because it makes noise.
It's a really fine line between like overshooting and undershooting, right?
Yeah.
Like I was a very conservative shooter for a long time because of that post-production process. But now, I've sped it up a lot. I don't shoot a lot, but I shoot many photos of the same frame. You know. Yeah.
When it's a moment where I know it's going to be a banger, I'll shoot a lot of that one frame. Because for me, the culling of that is not going to be a lot because I'm just going through and looking at the facial expression and just finding the best version of that.
Sometimes I want to know, like when I've clicked the one that I want, I want to know kind of roughly where is it in the gallery.
Certain photos. So you mean I guess you have like a mental note for. Wow.
That's the superpowers of having ADHD.
Yeah, you just remember.
I can code the cards that I shot a lot faster than I code his cards, for example, because I know what I'm looking for. I know which images. Like, I find it funny, some photographers, they're like, doing this sneak peek so time consuming. Like, bro, what do you mean? Like, as I'm shooting, I'm like, yep, that's one that's going. And I go to the next thing, that's the one that I'm going.
I'm the opposite.
Yeah?
Well, I'm not with the sneak peeks. I just turn around sneak peeks fast. But I always think I have banging shots on the job, and then I look at it on the screen and I go, no, it's not the one. So I don't know.
There is that as well. I think
well,
this cameras, they are built with some sort of a magic on them. The screens, everything looks a lot better.
The viewfinder, through the viewfinder, everything looks amazing.
The viewfinder and the screen as well. Like sometimes when I review the image in there, everything is so nice and beautiful. When I put on the thing, it's just like underwhelming.
I find it's for me a lot of the time it's like the perspective maybe or. The lighting, I don't know, like just little things. Sometimes like on the, I don't know, and then put on the big screen, it just doesn't have that same feel. And I don't know, like I struggle with wedding galleries. I think delivering like them. I don't know. I feel like weddings, given they're such an important part of someone's life, and it's the biggest day of their life, right?
Yeah.
And you're sharing that with them. Like I'm so passionate about. Like I want to give these guys the best possible photos I can, and like I really want to pick that like really good photo, and it's kind of managing the time though, because you can't spend too much time, but you do need to kind of, I don't know, look over things twice.
Oh yeah, I spend a lot more time on a wedding gallery than I do a corporate gallery.
Yeah. Of course,
like a lot more.
And
it's
I try
completely
to view
different.
in
It should be
more
done
than
like that.
one place as well. Like before sending to the client, I'll view on my phone.
Yeah.
On that
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well.
And the
I do
other
that.
screen,
100%.
because you know,
you want to know
the colors should look the same in every screen, but they don't.
Well, it needs to look good on every screen, right?
Exactly.
Because that's how
I mean, we
Yeah.
edit on these beautifully calibrated monitors, right?
That's right?
But
The
the one
clients
thing
don't
about
have
the
that.
monitor is that it doesn't have anywhere near as much as contrast or punch that phones do.
Yeah, so
You always export off there, and I view it on the
one,
phone.
and that mimics like a phone.
Yes,
And then
nice.
I got the
Yes.
color accurate one.
Literally.
So
Yeah.
you can look at both. So
It's so
it
important.
works, kind of. So then I know what people are going to see on their own screens.
Yeah.
And
That's it.
I mean, and I've been burned with the matte screen on a couple, like a shoot, you know, when I was first starting with like client going, hey, the blacks are a bit crushed there, and I'll view it on film. I'm like,
it probably looks too blue as well.
It's crushed.
Yeah.
Because you know you're matching the screen to the phone.
That's right.
It's just not how it is.
It's tricky,
Yeah.
It's a hard one to balance.
How do you find focal length in relation to the feeling of a photo? Does your mind view focal length in that way, in terms of like, because
What was this question?
do you view
Focal length as a
focal
tool.
length in a relative, not just as a tool of like, okay, I need to use a 24mm here, but like in relative,
It tells a story as well.
yeah, and not just, oh, this gives me more compression, but like how and which that makes you feel. So shooting this moment on a 24mm, up close, real tight to make it feel like you're there as a viewer,
Yeah.
rather than shooting it on a 7200. You feel so separated. I don't know.
No,
That's something that
I
I've
think about that all the time.
taken a lot more.
So I shoot high energy moments on wide angles deliberately.
Yes.
So you can recreate the excitement, you know, of that, a lot of stuff around you.
Yes.
Because that's what you're doing with the wide angle lens. You're seeing a lot more. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what excited moments are like, right? You're
Yes.
like really hyper vigilant of everything going around. So you can kind of recreate that in the image where you think in tight frames, that's like very calm, very peaceful. So like a portrait.
Yep.
You know, like if you're thinking a very intimate portrait, you might want to shoot that, you know, on the 135, 1.8. And that's a very, you know, calm, peaceful, in a moment, you know. So yeah, I use
100% agree.
focal length all the time.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love
same.
that.
I think everyone does, no?
Well,
like you need to.
That's why I wanted to ask, because they, you know, you should, but often, you know,
No,
people only use. I feel like some people only use. I only use a 50, and I only use an 85 mil, and that's the only lenses that I use. I'm sorry, but they're not thinking of focal length in the way that we're
No.
thinking of focal length. And if
No,
that's the
no,
only
absolutely.
lenses they use,
That's
do you know what I mean?
And
That
it's-
is true.
it's
There is that
interplay.
thing as well. Lots of wedding photographers, they have this thing of like, you know, I only,
I only
shoot
use this.
primes.
Yeah.
This is true. I haven't
It's
thought
true.
about
Yeah,
that.
it's true.
Do you know what I mean? It's like a zoom lens. I don't like zoom lenses
I
because it's
I
not
almost got
1.4.
stuck
I'm
in
sorry,
that
but your zoom lens is so perfect for
That's right.
changing on the moment
almost got
of
stuck
which
in that.
focal length is best suited for making the sort of the feeling of it. What is? There's so many aspects of a photo that come into
There's
it.
so many aspects.
So focal length is something that I've taken a lot more consideration in,
Yeah.
not just shooting everything on a
Yeah.
35 or not shooting everything on a 50.
No, absolutely.
It needs to be adjusted for it.
Even like in the beginning of my career, I didn't have any zoom lenses, mainly because I couldn't afford them.
Yes.
So I was a music photographer. So I needed that 1 point whatever, you know, this and that. So because of those, I've gravitated towards prime lenses. So in the beginning of my career, I had a 24 1.4, a 50 1.8, and a 85 1.8. And that was the three lenses I had for like a long time. But it's interesting thinking about that, like now you're asking the focal length question. This is something I always had in my mind, even though I didn't realize as well. Like I would, for when the bride and groom are coming in, or like if there is people like cheering and whatnot, I'll always have the 24. Always
Yes.
thinking about that as well, but not really full on thinking about it.
You always
know.
need to ask why. Why do you
Yeah.
do it that way?
Why are you doing it?
And I used to have one body only as well, and I used to swap my lenses so much and like have them all like standing in there and swap
Collecting
very
all the dust
quickly
as well.
You know, like in a wedding environment, when you do
Brutal.
lots of it on a concert, then you let go a lot. Like the amount of times that I'm opening my, like looking up, like please don't fly any beer right now, and you just open very quickly to like, you know,
Oh, God.
after
It's
doing
terrifying.
that in a concert,
That's
in
why
a
I
wedding,
use
it's
zoom
fine.
lenses, to be honest. It's because I'm worried
don't
about
have
my
to.
sensor. That's that's part of the reason why I'm probably going to pick up the 24 to 105. So you know, most of the day you're just on one lens, one camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, save a body as well. But there's certain instances where it doesn't cut it. You know, if we think about weddings specifically, I think once you head in, and it's even the ergonomics of the camera, right? And like having a lens so big and so bulky with an on-camera flash on top, it makes you too
Obtrusive.
obtrusive. You know, you're too obvious.
Definitely.
You need to be discreet at times.
Yeah.
And you know, I think sometimes you need to have the two cameras, so you can have smaller equipment, one nimble one with the flash or whatever you do.
It's at the point where I put my flash in my back pocket, even
do
at
that as well,
receptions
yeah.
or events, because if I'm shooting a candid and I want to be sneaky like this, the flash is
So big.
So big.
Yeah.
Everyone just sees you.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
just
right.
like,
Yeah.
I'll take your post photo, but I wanted your candid smile
Okay,
from 2 seconds ago that I'm not going to
It's
get now. I still want to take this photo,
Yeah.
but you ruined it because you looked at me.
It's intimidating. It is really intimidating.
Because it's so big, they see
It's
it.
a giant camera.
Yeah.
Compared to a little one, you know, like
Yeah.
if you look at that and then you look at even
Yeah.
that one, it's
Chuck a 35
Do you
mil,
know-
that 35 mil 1.4, the amount of candids, beautiful candids I can get,
Do
it's
you
so
know-
small. It's just like,
Yeah. One thing that I've realized as well, it's lots of people talk so much about the 2870 the Canon has.
I've never actually used it.
so big.
Okay, so 2870, all the wedding photographers are, you know, like it's the only lens that you need, da 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 da, it's a 2.0, yada yada yada. And then I started working for Camera Electronics. So I started taking the lens out all the time because everyone just like says how much of a shit is it. And it actually is. Like the image quality on that shit is through the roof.
It's the closest thing you'll get to a prime lens, having a zoom lens is that lens.
What I've realized though is that my photos were worse with that because, especially weddings, the first times that I arrive with that lens for a wedding, the first reaction that I got with that lens, the bride looked at it like, oh my God, this lens is so huge, it's gonna see all my wrinkles. And I'm like, is that where your brain went?
Wow.
Like, what the fuck?
But that's really interesting.
That's an interesting
Right? But then I had that reaction more times.
Yep.
You know, like the ladies are always like, oh, it's going to see my imperfections. Oh, are you good on Photoshop? Like that's something that they never thought about before looking at that lens. So I started swapping back to the 2470 because like the front element's a lot smaller. It's a lot less intimidating.
So it's bigger than that one then, the 2870.
Oh yeah, it's like.
It's 102 front.
Oh, is it?
It's like.
That's
front
huge.
element.
Yeah, it's massive.
Huge.
That's double
That's
that.
the same as the telephoto, big telephoto lenses.
Yeah.
It's huge. Like it's a brilliant lens when you can work with people that know what the heck's going on, or when you can hide yourself in the middle of a studio. You know, they don't see that front element.
It's weird that photographers do that though, you know, and they become like so devoted to one thing, and then they kind of push it.
You're right.
Yeah, and I think
this lens is the price. There is lots of wedding photographers that they don't know what the heck they're talking about, and that lens is the most expensive it is. And then people go like, "Oh, most expensive must be the best, right?" It's the same when I see wedding photographer shootings with the R1. I'm just like, "What are you doing? Like this camera was not built for that." Oh, but it's the most expensive camera that Canon has. Yes, but it's not built for that. Yes. I'm not saying that you can't shoot weddings with the R1. Yes, you can. But if
why would you?
you can spend half of this money and get a camera that's actually better for that job.
I think I actually don't like the R6.
I don't like the R6 either. Sorry, Kevin.
Mark 1, Mark 2, both.
Mark 2, yeah.
You don't like the Mark 2 either?
Mark 2.
No, the Mark 2 is better. The R6 is rubbish.
Well, R6 was the first iteration, right?
I don't know. It's just. I like this. This camera's perfect.
The R6 III, if it is a thing or if it ever comes out, that thing's gonna be sick.
Yeah. The R5 Mark II, it's a camera that was built for me.
It needs a screen on top though. That's the only complaint I have really.
See, I barely ever use the little screen on top.
No, I use it all the time, especially for
the thing that turned me off DSLRs was no flippy screen.
And the other thing that does my head with the R6 too is that I'll be shooting a high-paced moment and the camera will come down to my side and I'll hit the dial and it'll go off manual into AV mode or something. And you know, you can't lock the bloody dial. And it's like, the camera would be pretty perfect if you could lock the dial. It's like, there's one little small change and I'd be happy. But I've had a lot of times and a lot of moments where I just haven't been able to capture moments because I've knocked the settings.
Okay.
The dial. There's other factors as well, you know, I don't know, the quality of the video is not the best.
Is your R6 Mark II a lot slower than your R5 Mark II, even to turn it on?
I don't think so.
Our one, we need to send ours back.
I need to send mine to Canon.
Our R6 II has like a 3-second delay.
You turn it on and you go like 1, 2, 3,
and then
4, 5, and then it turns on.
It's shockingly slow. It needs to be.
Do you know how many shots I missed because of that?
R6 II, yeah. Our R6 turns on faster. It needs to be. Yeah, no, it's not that fast. No. It takes a solid 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, it turns on.
This is the dial. That's the dial I'm talking about. It's like this. You can't lock that.
So it's funny you mentioned that, right? Because I've never bumped in terms of like what you're talking about.
Do you use dual camera strap?
Yeah, it doesn't bump.
But we put our camera the other way around. So yes, it's like that. It goes like that.
It's mainly when it's swinging.
And it knocks it. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Just little bumps, and then it's not much to push it. And yeah, I've been terrified before because I honestly thought I was going to miss the first kiss or something.
Oh
you know,
no!
Like it's been pretty scary.
Oh shit!
So that's my only real major complaint. I mean, yeah, look, as a B cam or a C cam, it's all right, but you're going to spend $3,000. You might as well get the R5 too.
Especially doing a hybrid shooting, I feel.
But that's a lot more expensive than
it is, but it's worth it.
I think so too.
It's very.
That camera's amazing as well for the video. Have you used those?
Yeah.
R5C. I've played with it from the shop. I've taken it out and used it.
I really like that.
I fell in love with it. It just looks, and the red button. It just looks cool. It's just. It's very
I mean, yeah.
For me, it doesn't have a reason for me to buy a camera like that because I don't shoot that many video at all whatsoever. And I just find that the coolant thing, you know, like the fan, is just too big. But
It's huge.
I've considered
It's
buying
actually
it.
lighter than you think, though.
I've considered buying it just because of the
Button.
The button. The red button is just. I really like this red
For
button.
the sensor you're getting and the quality of video you're getting at, what is it now, 4,000
Mate, you can
bucks?
shoot straight raw on that thing, can't you?
Straight raw 8K.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's nuts, but it's huge files. And I've never
massive.
used it, but you can do it. And it's just that it's the dynamic range of the R5C. It's incredible. Like that camera is beautiful. It competes with the C80.
Yeah.
Like the only difference with the C80 is the ports. And yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah, I don't know. I could say.
Oh, it's back on.
Yeah, it's broken.
Hey, run by AI or something.
He's not happy I'm talking about him. He's so he's obviously is getting plugged in. Yeah, I don't know. The C80, you know, has a lot of better things, but as a hybrid shooter, that's probably the R5C, I would say, is the most bang for your buck camera there is out there. I don't think there's anything that's better.
Especially the price that it is now.
Because it's an R5 sensor with I detect they've done an autofocus update, so it's got like that autofocus.
Yes,
Yeah,
does
nice.
it?
Yeah, so it's really
So
good.
they have the technology to put autofocus and do
Canon
that.
is just,
It probably is the best bang for buck
they
because
wanna
photo
try
camera
it.
is still
100%.
amazing too. So like
Yeah.
this,
it's incredible.
If they put the same autofocus as that one there, then
But
that
the
makes
hesitation
a change.
is the bulkiness of it, and that was my hesitation. But now I just leave it rigged all the time because I got this one. And yeah, I shoot on the R5 too.
Yeah.
If you haven't, need it, you can take it off the rig and
Yeah.
But I know. I really like that camera. But
I want to get a little monitor like that. I just don't know.
it's really good.
I don't do enough video to warrant it. I don't think, but
So
get to the point where I do.
we chatted a bit about like having a style early on in the podcast. How cool is it on a podcast?
It's good that we still remember that we are on
We're
that.
still here.
The whiskey's getting
it's hit.
yeah, so we were talking about styles. I have a theory on styles. So, like, I think about things very deeply, if you haven't realised. And I'm a big advocate for doing styled shoots. And, there's people out there in the social media realm at the moment. Josh Nugget, what's his name?
Josh
Hayes?
Huggett. Yeah, Josh Huggett.
Yeah, and I don't think he's saying does he hate them? What's his argument?
His thing is, as
They're
far as
not
I'm aware,
real- they're
correct
not
me if
real
I'm wrong,
weddings.
he has no problem with styled shoots as long as you tell people that it is a styled shoot. If you start doing styled shoots and then try and push yourself that this is a wedding that you've shot and don't mention the fact that it's a styled shoot, then you're misleading your customers, especially if you're someone who's starting out, just getting into it, hasn't shot too many weddings, then you're posting all this beautiful imagery of styled shoots, but you're not telling anyone. That's misleading, and I don't think it's right.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's
I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
I kind of agree
Full
with
on.
that. Yeah.
Like, I
But-
feel like there is an ethics aspect to it as well. Like to a point that not nowadays, it's been like this for a while, but McDonald's, it's supposed to put, like, every time that there is a beautiful photoshopped image, which is all the time with McDonald's, those images, they are more digital drawing than they are photographs to begin with, So it came to a point that McDonald's had to put there, written down, that this is a photoshopped image, and that's not how your meal is going to look like. And this is a disclosure because, the marketing people realize that it's misleading people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's already a problem that they fixed up there. So in my view, it's just like very unethical for photographers to take those shots, on an environment that it's completely different than a wedding. Completely different.
Yeah.
And then post up there and like kind of pretend that it's like a couple, lovey-dovey kind of thing, and it's not. And then there is the other problem as well, like when you can when you have much time to think about those lightings and this and that, you produce a certain level of work, you know. When you have 5 minutes to figure out in a wedding day, you produce a different level of work. It's because you have 5 minutes to figure it out. I'm not saying that's going to be rubbish, and that's not the point at all, but they are very different kind of works. And the people that are hiring you need to understand that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's if you want a full-on like photo shoot like Vogue, maybe hire the photographer another day that all you guys are gonna do is take those photos. If it's a full-on wedding day, people need to understand and understand what they are signing up for as well.
And how much work goes into those photos, you know? If they just see the end product and they don't understand everything behind it, that it does require lighting, it maybe require an assistant, and it will take a little bit longer potentially on certain things. That is for this sort of style of shooting. But I have nothing against it. We will probably do a style shoot at some point. It's something we want to do, or at least I want to do, for some crazy ideas that you have that for weddings that just look awesome. But not to push it as it's an actual wedding shoot. It would be, you know, disclosed as this was a style shoot. You know?
And I think that's a fair argument. I completely agree with it actually, because you see the thing that I don't really, it's not that I don't care about the argument, but I think it's not something that we should really get upset with, is that the people who do that aren't going to stay in business. Because being a good business owner means you are transparent and you are honest with your couples. And if you are misleading, people are going to catch on eventually. And you're not going to be in business for very long. So if you are, it's true. It's like, part of being a good wedding photographer is providing a good service. And the only way you're going to provide a good service is through experience, shooting real weddings. And understanding timelines, understanding what clients want, having robust contracts, understanding how long it takes you to set up the camera so you can provide recommendations. If you've only done styled shoots, you can't do that. And you should not try to be selling a wedding service. The way I used editorials though, and why I'm such an advocate for them, is that I was shooting a lot of weddings, but I wasn't making what I wanted to make with weddings. So I wanted to develop a unique style that I could reproduce on weddings. And the way I built that style was from doing editorials, through putting the shoots together, through practicing techniques, and then producing images that I could then reproduce on a real wedding. And
love that.
Being able to do that means I was able to build a style that I could sell to people and say, this is what you're going to pay for. And I doubled my revenue from doing that, you know, because people started to appreciate what I was putting out and saw I was the only one who could do that and were willing to pay more for it. And it's so, I don't know, like, I think if the argument online is like, you know, you shouldn't do style shoots, I think that's just wrong, because because they're a fantastic way to expand your portfolio. If you're an established photographer already, you know, but if you're starting out, you probably should get a few free weddings under your belt and understand the industry or second shoot or whatever, you know.
I'm not fully against those shoots, like a style shoot, as Callum said, it's something that we want to do. We are in a point that, like, I love all the weddings that we do, don't get me wrong, but Perth have this thing of like kind of everyone wants the same.
Boho.
And the boho style is what comes the most to us, you know, like it's people want that airy-fairy whites and greens and all that, which is like, you know, it is, which is great. There is other people that do it. They do it better than me. Go find those people. I want to do not only, but, you know, like what I like, it's the kind of wedding that we had, that it's a little bit more quirky. It is a little bit more colorful.
But you should push that, right? You know what I mean?
This is what I'm telling you. Like, I will use the editorial shoots because we want to.
How you did it.
And I want to encourage people to see that something different also looks cool. Like, I understand people want the conservative, the structure and this and that, because they're spending 5-10 grand on that photo shoot alone.
That's where I would challenge you. I don't think they do. I don't think they do.
You don't think they want the? No. Oh, send me those people then.
I think what it is that people buy on trust and emotion, right? So trust would be, you know, I guess, do they trust you as a photographer, and do they trust you're going to provide them with what they want? And then what was the second thing I said?
Trust and emotion.
Emotion.
Yeah.
And then how do they feel about you as a business? Do they feel like you're a high-end business? Do they feel like you're going to provide a high-end service? And if both of those are yes, they're probably going to hire you. And I personally think you can have any style you want. And if you market yourself correctly and you have a big enough name and you're known by enough people and enough people trust you and enough people feel emotionally connected to you, you can sell any style. It's really, you know, you like, and you,
I just feel like those shoots give the people like the idea of what's possible. You know, like the shoot doesn't need to be white and airy to look amazing. Like it can be very moody and colorful and with like quirky stuff.
you can pick any style.
Yeah, and this is where using the editorials the way in which you did is a fantastic way to sculpt the style of what you want to sort of double down on, rather than just
it did wonders for me.
getting
really
all the different styles of weddings and shooting all of it, which is
and
fantastic.
Like
you know, it's great.
those shoots as well, it's a lot easier to create content with it as well, because you know, like it's a model, it's this and that. Content for social media nowadays is very, very important.
But
so I'm not against it. I just think that every time that it's a shoot that it was like that, it needs to have some sort of a disclosure somewhere.
I own it.
Yeah.
Because you know how hard they are to organize. They're way harder than shooting a wedding. I tell you now, organizing an editorial is the hardest thing I've done as a photographer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I swear to God, it is, because you need to contact the venue, you need to convince them to bring you in, then you need to find a makeup artist, convince them to come do the day for free. 2 models usually, dress store, go to the dress store with the models, try the dresses on, make sure everything, because you don't do that, you're stuffed. So you need to go to the bridal store. There's a lot of work involved, like a lot of, if you're able to pull it off, I think you're showing that you are a person who can manage things very well and you can plan things very well.
That's very true.
Yeah, and I think editorials, people should appreciate how difficult they are to put together, and because it's not easy. It's like, and you know, you could do it fast and cheap or whatever, but you're not going to get those photos that, you know, people are going to look at and they're going to be like, wow, this is amazing. And the research that goes into it. You know, how you're going to light certain things, or how you're going to quirk the photo up, how you're going to use vibrant colors, whatever you might be trying to pursue, is like how you're going to implement it on the day as well. And then also get content. So you need to think about getting content on the day as well.
If you're not making content, it's missed opportunity.
That's right. It's stressful, man. It's probably the most. I did one at Moana Hall. Is that what it's called? No, Montogamori. Montour. Do you know the one I'm talking about? It's got a nice. It's I think it's called Montogamori Hall, something like that.
Is that in Claremont?
Yes.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. I can't pronounce it, so
I can't pronounce it as well.
My brain doesn't even read the thing; just goes like lettuce soup.
I just say Montour.
Yeah, Claremont. Yes, we actually have a wedding there. Oh my God, and I can't wait. That wedding is going to be so good.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I don't know.
It is the wedding, the Star Wars wedding.
Yeah, that place looks insane. I know exactly what you're talking about now. Yeah, it looks amazing inside with the chandeliers and.
Yep. So
looks gorgeous.
Like
it's so fun that I don't know
so that editorial I did. I scouted the venue. I planned shots. I went to the bridal store with the models. I found the right models for the day. I coordinated the makeup artist. I organized the whole thing. You know, it was like 100 hours of work.
Yeah.
Free.
Yeah.
Also, I could go in and create content and produce what I wanted to produce as a photographer. And I put so much into that. I felt so unwell. I was sick for like a week. I was just burnt out. I couldn't. It's like flu, and then freaking, I don't know if there was a bit of depression in there from all the anxiety and stress that it caused.
Oh goodness.
It was a lot, man. It was hard.
Yeah.
But it paid off, because then I did the expo, and at the expo, this is your showcase work.
Yeah.
This is what you are going to provide to your real couples. And there was a part of me that was like, I'm not going to be able to do it and bring it into real weddings, but I haven't had a problem with that yet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I feel like you've done editorials in the right way as well, because you worked weddings. You know, a lot. You've got in the field, in the trenches, and you were shooting weddings.
Right.
You know how to shoot a wedding.
You
know
what's
timelines. You know realistic timelines and what you need to do.
Yeah.
And then you found that, you know, you wanted to you know, go in a certain direction with your style.
Yeah.
and that's when you use editorial. So that's a
Yeah.
fantastic way to use it, and I think people should use it like that.
Yeah.
But it's people who like, I mean, I didn't do it in tape, but there's tapes and unis that will set up stuff like this for students, right? And then they get to shoot wedding-like images, and then they start off the bat saying, I'm a wedding photographer, and using those photos and not saying anything. It's like, mate, let's hold the phone for a sec.
But do you reckon they would get hired?
Yes,
You
and
reckon?
like
Try.
TAFE encourages people to do that. The only thing
But
that
it's so hard
TAFE
to book a
does,
wedding client. I think about how difficult it is.
yeah, the only thing
It
that
is hard.
TAFE does
Props
that
to
I
them, I guess, for managing to book it like that, you know?
Maybe.
this whole thing of like fake it until you make it,
Yeah.
I'm highly against it.
Okay,
And this
yeah.
is something that TAFE really like, fake it until you make it. Fake it until you make it.
What do you-
if
what
you
do you
have 2
dislike
years
again?
under your belt, tell people you have 5 years under your belt. And like,
Okay.
I
So
disagree.
being dishonest.
Yeah.
I disagree with those things.
Okay.
It's not only, don't be dishonest, but also like it fails through, like people realize, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
You see through the
a
bullshit.
person that's been holding the camera for 2 years, a person that's been holding for 10 years, it's very different.
Yeah, absolutely.
You behave different with it, like,
Yeah.
and it's just a matter of like, if you've been doing for 2 years only, tell people you've been doing for 2 years only, because 5 years into it, doing all the time for the 2 years, that 3 years makes such a huge difference, So you're gonna sell yourself for failure if you
Absolutely.
don't, because
Yeah.
people are gonna be like, oh, you've
Yeah.
been doing for 5
Okay,
years and
completely
still like
agree.
this? Like,
Yeah.
seriously?
You don't want to lie. You don't want
No.
to be dishonest. I think that's the major flaw, especially in this day and age where everything is sold through online and people do see through the cracks, and
Yeah.
social media is a big part of it,
And customers are woke to it, like
work as well.
woke, like they
Knowledge
they
spreads
know,
fast
yeah.
now as well. So
Yeah.
word will get out, and that's not good for you. And I just don't think, if you're dishonest as a business owner, I don't think you're going to stay in business very long. I think people are going to find out, and then, like you said, they're not going to be around much
No.
longer,
Yeah.
because it's not a good practice.
Especially on a service-based
Yeah.
Especially in Perth, so small.
business.
Do you want some more whiskey?
Oh no, I feel like if I have any more, I won't be able to drive. Well, how long will we be when we get here? I don't know.
Yeah, we need to wrap it up really. I think we're pretty probably smacked out of it. We've done it for 2 hours.
Surely we've got lots of content.
I think we
So-
have heaps. I think we can wrap it up.
This has been great.
Yeah, it's been a lot
been
of
so
fun.
good.
Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate all of
Straight
you.
into it.
Hope you enjoyed the episode. What else can I say? Peace out.
Cheers.
See you on the next
later.
one.
Later.